Hi everyone, hope you're keeping well. I'm coming on today with some really big news for you. So I'm coinciding it with a tutorial for all my poor brides for the month of November who have to do their own makeup themselves on their wedding morning. So I did this tutorial. It's a very natural looking makeup look, and I have picked out the best products that I feel would suit you, that are easy to use, and that I have in my kit constantly, and that I go back to time and time again. They're ideal for photography and for high definition cameras, for flashback, for long wearing, for everything. Smudge proof, tear proof, everything. So these products are the best of the best that I've picked for you, and I will help you, and I have a full tutorial done to guide you along the way. Great news for you. So I'm working with Charlotte Tilbury to give you, each one of you, 15% off your order with Charlotte Tilbury for any of the products that you want to use. So there's so many products out there. They're amazing products, and like I said, I've picked the best of the best, and all you need to do is you need to set up a new email address for Charlotte Tilbury. Use the code that I give you, and you get 15% off automatically, no matter what you spend. So it is ideal for any brides or for bridesmaids or for anyone really who wants some Charlotte Tilbury to use this code, and you just have to be a new customer. So even if you've ordered from your own email address before, you can just use your fiancés or your boyfriends or a friend, and just book through an order through that website. So Charlotte Tilbury are the products that I'm using. The brushes that I'm using are from Sarah Carey, who is an amazing makeup artist from Cork. You've probably seen her working on Pippa quite a lot, and she has kindly gifted me some of her brushes. So I used her 5-set brushes for this look again. So it's ideal for brides or for bridesmaids who don't want to buy an awful lot of brushes, that they have this compact set. It's $49.99 for the 5 brushes, which is amazing value. But I have a discount code as well for you. So you'll get 10% off with the discount code for those brushes. So look, this look is a tutorial, like I said, for all my poor brides out there, and bridesmaids, you can use this as well. And it's like a nice kind of glam makeup for anybody else who wants to learn and to use products and to learn a little bit more about Charlotte Tilbury as well. Thank you so much. I'm going to link all the products that I have used exactly, and the discount codes that you can use as well. You can use them from today on, so enjoy them. And I'm just so glad that I can give this to you, and for any brides out there getting married, that your makeup and your hair makeup artists and hairdressers aren't with you on the day. Best of luck. The most important thing I would say is have loads of time in the morning. Practice your hair and your makeup a few days in advance, or a few weeks if you can, and just know what you're doing, but have your time allocated. Have like maybe an hour or 2 hours put aside for hair and makeup, and just have the watch with you on the morning, and just don't run over for time. Your bridesmaids, your moms, your friends are going to be there with you to help you along the way. And if there's anything I can do as well, like I'm on call, I'm here, I have my mobile, so if I can do anything for anyone, please give me a shout. Okay, so thank you so much. Enjoy the tutorial and enjoy all your fab new bits from Charlotte Tilbury and Sarah Carey. Okay, thank you. So we're going to start with your skincare for the morning of the wedding. What I generally say to brides is just cleanse as normal, give your face a good wash off after the cleanse, and you can use your toner then. Generally, I apply the moisturizer or the primer on the morning for you, and the one that I normally go with is the Magic Cream in Light. So that's the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream Light. This is absolutely brilliant. It feels so soft, it feels so smooth, and just apply a tiny little bit all over the skin. There's a low SPF, there's like a 20 SPF in it, which is great for any flashback. Like I said, I've used this loads and I find this amazing. And anyone with oily skin as well, it's absolutely fantastic. So don't forget to bring it down the neck and the chest area if you feel you need. It's lightweight. It, like I said, is great for flashback. It's great for the HD cameras, and you get that little bit of a moisturizing without having like too much product on the skin. So, and I'm going to move on to the primer. So the primer I'm going to use is the Flawless Filter. Now this product is really good for a nice dewy effect, for a nice glowy effect, especially for bridal. It is really good. But if you have oily skin, stay away from it. It can create a little bit of a shine if you have oily skin already. So by having your good base, like your good moisturizer, and then by applying this just on, say, the highest points of the face. So I'll be using this just on the cheek area, and I'm applying it with my fingers very, very lightly. And normally I go just around the temples and I keep away from the T-zone area. So give it a nice rub in. And you can see already, it's just that little bit of a glow. And again, I'll just bring that down the neck. Now, if you do have oily skin, just go for a primer that is suited for your oily skin. And I would apply that everywhere. I'd apply that down the T-zone, right around the face as well. I'll put up a few recommendations of the ones that I use that I find are good for the oily skin also. Okay, so that's just that. And then onto concealer. So the brushes that I'm going to use today are from Sarah Carey. They are a 5-piece brush set. She's a pro makeup artist based in Cork, and these brushes are just amazing. So this is a perfect little collection. If you feel that you don't have enough brushes or that you're missing one or two, a lot of these are double-ended, so they're absolutely fantastic. And I'll be talking you through each of them as we go along. I do have a discount code as well for these. I have a 10% off. They're $49.99 for the 5, which is amazing value for brushes that you'll have forever. And I'll link that up there later on. But I'll be showing you how to use each of them as we go along. But fabulous, fabulous brushes, and that you don't have to be buying a massive set of them when you have everything that you need here in just 5 brushes. Okay, so for the concealer, I'm going to use the Magic Away for the under eye. So this is again from Charlotte Tilbury, and it's in the shade medium. I'm applying it with my ring finger, very, very light pressure. And basically for anyone with a lot of fine lines and wrinkles underneath the eye, if you want a more cream effect and nothing that is going to stick in to any lines or wrinkles, just apply that underneath. It is great for any color as well. So if you've any kind of blue veins or any darkness around the eyes, I find this absolutely amazing. So that's in medium, and it is the Magic Away concealer. So with it's the eyeshadow concealer brush, as you can see there, and I have a tiny little bit of the liquid Magic Away from Charlotte Tilbury on this, and that's what I'm going to use on top. So basically I generally tend to use the same color or a little bit lighter camouflage or concealer just on the eye area. Don't forget to go in here, just into the corner, and then same, sorry, I had a little bit too much there on the brush, so I'll just buff it out here this side. So it's just, again, cover any redness to act as a base for your eyeshadow. And you will notice that I'm doing my eye makeup first before I work onto my foundation or my blush, and I will find that easier for later on, just if I need to wipe away anything underneath. If you have any redness on the skin or any little pigmentation marks, any blemishes, I always have a few broken thread veins on my cheeks, I would use the liquid Magic Away as well on that for you. Don't be too heavy handed with your concealer. As you can see there, when I started on this eye, I was a little bit heavy handed. And just buff that off with your finger if needs be, but just apply it gently. Remember, we still have foundation to go on, and we can also put a little bit of concealer over the foundation again if you wish. So we're going to move on to the eyes, and that gives time as well for our primer and our camouflage to soak in properly. So 10 minutes is ideal, 10 to 15 minutes. So by the time we have the eyes done, our skin will be ready then for our foundation and for our powder and all the rest. So I have picked an instant palette from Charlotte Tilbury because I'll find everything is in this. You don't have to buy a load of products. You have every single thing. You have your eyeshadows, which are here. You have your blush, you have your highlighter and your contour. So you have everything there in that palette that you can use for the day. I've picked nice bright colors, nothing too dark. You can smoke it up if you want later on, but for your bridal makeup, just keep everything nice and natural. Keep your makeup the way you normally do it yourself. Don't change anything much about it. Just enhance your beauty. Don't try to cover up anything or make anything too extreme, especially when you're doing your own makeup. Just keep it nice and natural. And hopefully these tips anyway will help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with number 1 there, that eye color. We're going to use that as a base all over. I'm going to go in with number 2, as my transition, but I'm going to take it across the eye a little bit, just for anybody who has deep set eyes. So I will buff it all the ways across and give kind of a nice shadow. And then number 3, it's a lovely kind of brown plummy color, which is beautiful for this time of year. And I'm going to darken the eye with that. Those colors will be used as well underneath. So yeah, it's all about, you know, and if you get this palette, you can practice a little bit as well yourself, and that you can help yourself, you know, by practicing. And by the time the morning comes, like, this makeup should probably take only 45 minutes, the very most, once you have practiced a little bit. I'm going to go in with the same brush again. So that was the concealing side, and this is the flat eyeshadow side. I'm going to start off with the first color, the number 1 in that palette, which is a nice cream. So basically just cover all your lower socket with that color. It should come out nice and smooth when you have your concealer done underneath. I'm going to change brushes, and I'm going to go in with the eye duo brush. So again, you have a fluffy head, and then you have a pencil head for, say, the third color. So this will be done for the second color, and this is going to like buff out very, very gently. It's a lovely wide bristle as well, so that you're not going to get a very dark look. You can build it up, yes, if you wish, but to start off, it's going to be nice and soft with a fluffy brush. So into the second color, and just here, so where your socket ends and say the end of the eyebrow, we're going to work all along this area and then just buff it in slightly here. We're also going to lift the eye back a little bit. So instead of kind of bringing it down when we come here, we're going to just taper it back, but I'll show you that now as well. So like literally very, very soft movements. I'm going to take it all the ways across there. And like, I'm very, very gently doing this. Like, if I go a little bit more heavy-handed, it will get quite dark. And like I said, you can build it if you wish, but keep it just nice and soft. When you are doing your eye makeup, try to look straight ahead and don't raise the eyebrows. Okay, so keep the eyebrows straight and rested and just work like that. Start off with one eye, go into the second, and you can be matching up then as you go along. As you can see, when I'm coming in here to this side, like I said, I'm keeping it very, very light. And again, remember, just lift everything up. All our liner, our shadow, everything will be just lifted back, just to taper the eyes back a little bit and just to lift the face naturally. So again, with that color now, I'm just going to pat a tiny little bit here on the outside. We will be doing the third color along here, but I just want to create a little bit of a base with that transition color. We're still on number 2, okay? Just pat it along gently. So I'm going to go back in with the first brush that I used. Remember, we used this for the cream, the first color. I'm going to dip it into the second color, and then just gently, just bring it along the under eye, okay? So this is again the second color, the transition color, and I'm just matching up there. Do you see how it match up there to the top part? Not much of a difference, but when we'll put on the third color, you will see that all coming together. And this gives the illusion of, like, again, lifting the eye. And if you've any fine lines or wrinkles underneath the eye, this will draw the eye away from that. So it's always good to pop something underneath. It doesn't have to be like a heavy color, but just to give you something underneath to balance the eye as well. Again, which is the eyeshadow duo brush, and I'm going in with the pencil head side and into the third color, okay, which is the darkest color. So for this color now, we don't need a lot of it. We're going to buff quite a bit of it off, but I'm keeping it to say this V here on the eye. All right, I would raise my eyebrows for this when I'm doing it, because if you kind of keep them naturally, I'm always afraid that you'll go up too high. All right, so just raise a little bit, get right into that socket, and very, very small movements. So you can see it is real pencil brush. It's an amazing brush, and just bring it all the ways across. Keep the eyebrows raised, and then when you just go maybe probably about a third across, I'd come down here and just go down by the lid. And that's really hard now to do when I'm looking as well, but just gently bring it down there. So we'll be buffing it all off as well later on, so don't worry about that. So basically just create a V just on the outside of the eye there. Okay, we'll move over to the other side, which is the fluffy side. You don't have to put any more product on this, and just gently buff. And basically just do this step until you create the effect that you want. So I'm just buffing that across there very gently. Sometimes when you do your makeup and when you do your eye makeup, especially first, you're looking at it and you're like, oh my god, you know, I can't do this right and it's not looking good. But it always comes together at the end. So if you feel like that when you're doing this, you're like, oh no, it's not working out, don't worry, because I think once you have your mascara, once you have your liner and everything on, it will turn out okay. So I will apply another little bit onto the buffing brush and just buff it gently. And like I said, just keep doing this until you reach your effect that you want yourself. If you want it very, very dark or very, very light. And just remember, we're going to be putting on your liner and your mascara too, so that will bring it up a little bit more. Okay, so when you feel you have enough darkness on the top, you can, like I said, go back after this again if you wish. I'm going to go back in with the eyeshadow concealer brush and, this side. I'm going to dip it into the final color and we're going to do a little bit underneath as well. So very, very gently, keep as near to the lash line. If you can, look up while doing this and just place the brush at this angle. Sorry if you can see there now. So place it at that angle instead of like this. Pop it up and just right underneath and just go along your lash line, okay? Just to darken slightly. And like I said, this balances out the eye. And it is an important step. I wouldn't leave this one out. See how it finishes off the eye so much? It makes a massive, massive difference. On the inner eye line, you can do a nude liner, you can do a black liner then if you wish, if you want to kind of darken up the eyes. Before you start your makeup, I would kind of suggest deciding whether you want to go more focus on the eyes or more focus on the lips. It all depends on your gown, it depends on your hair, it depends on the theme of your wedding. If you're more vintagey, you're obviously going to go with a nice like deep colour on the lips and maybe a winged liner. But as a whole, this is a general makeup look that I would do for brides. Okay, so I'm going to stick with a brown liner for the eyes instead of a black. Again, it's more of the safer option to go for. We're going to smoke it out. This is going to be quite a soft look. So this is the Rock and Coal and it's Barbarella Brown, which is lovely. It's so easy to use. It's really, really soft coal. And basically, just when you apply it, keep it down as far near the lash line as you possibly can. You can always build this up again. So we're going to go very, very thin here and then we're going to thicken it out on the outside. I am going to use a brush as well later on just to kind of buff it out a small little bit. So don't worry if you make mistakes. Again, this will take a little bit of practice, and what I would say is place your elbows down on a table while looking at a mirror and look down if you can, and that's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to grab, this is the liner and the brow brush. So the liner part of it, just gently, again, hold it at an angle like that, and then just gently sweep it across. Okay, and we'll do the same with the other side. So this eyeliner, this brown eyeliner is, even though it's a coal one, it's the best that I have found to stay on. And like looking at it there, you know, it is nice and dark without being too black. So it really defines the eyes, but love this one. So what we're going to do, I have lined all the ways across, I've buffed it in, and then I'm just going to flick a tiny little bit out. So basically what you need to do, get your eyeshadow brush and just measure from the tip of the nose, the side of the nose, to the eye, to the end of the eyebrow. Okay, so we're going to be going upwards in this motion, and like I said, it's only going to be slightly because I want to buff it out again with the brush. Sometimes I just taunt the skin very lightly, and don't be too heavy with the color. Again, like I said, you can always apply more after, so just do a tiny little bit. That looks absolutely tiny, but we'll be flicking it out with the brush. So have the brush turned this angle, and let's just sweep it back nice and gently, back and up, okay? And again, remember, this is soft. You don't want any drastic, harsh lines for your wedding day, and it'll just kind of make the eye a little bit more feminine, just with a little flick back. Okay, and we'll do the same on the other side. And you're going to be turning your brush this way because we're going to be moving outwards. Turn it back if you're going in. So if you want to do your liner a little bit heavier, just go back over the same line again, and again, just brush it through. So it all depends, like if you want it a little bit lighter and just more softer looking, you can leave it at the first stage. And if you want it heavier, just go back over it again. And as you can see, I'm taunting the eye constantly when I'm doing the liner. They're just my shaped eyes, I have to do it. But I find then if you've any little liner wrinkle around here, just don't do it. Just finish your eyeliner here, taper it back slightly with the eyeshadow, but just leave it at that. I'm going to go in as well with the brown, slight little bit here, right? Just the tiniest bit on the outside. And I'm going to buff it in again with the liner brush. And that's just kind of to finish off and to kind of connect the top with the bottom. Just buff it across. You have the two eyeshadows underneath, so you have that shadow underneath, and this is, like I said, just for a little bit more definition. So before we start the eyeshadow, I'm just going to go back in with the first color. Just brighten, see that difference? Just brighten the inside of the eye when I have used so much darkness on the outside. Just bring it down here into the tear duct and across. And as you can see, I'm just patting really lightly. Okay, and then onto the mascara. And this is the new Charlotte Tilbury mascara that you are going to love. Okay, so I'm going to show you the new mascara from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes. Number one, it's the blackest black mascara that you'll get. It's absolutely amazing when it is on. It's smudge proof, transfer proof, humidity proof, so absolutely perfect for your wedding day. And it really creates a lovely lash without false lashes. There's keratin built into it as well. That's a key ingredient. And basically it's like a conditioner for your eyelashes. It is a little bit more tricky to put on, so a small bit of practice does wonders with this. So as you can see, the brush, right? So the brush has two sides, right? It's a diamond shaped brush, and the reason it's a diamond shape is to kind of create like really volumized lashes and nice fangs, and it's a really big brush as well, which I love. So there's a lot of product here on the top of it and the underneath, and you literally coat your lashes with this first of all, and then you brush them up. So you can use a brush this way as well, just to kind of get any little bit on the outside, but I'll demonstrate there and I'll show you. Okay, so basically keep the brush vertical like so, and then just in as near as you can to the lash line. And I always like blink when I'm working and doing this as well, so you can blink. So you're getting the product, as much product onto the lash as possible before you brush through. Okay, keep the brush vertical. For anyone who loves their mascaras, you're going to love this, because if you're the type of person who, you know, puts a lot of work into their eyelashes in the morning, you'll definitely love this one. So that's just the product applied, sorry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it through. So wait till you see the effects of this. So you can do kind of wiggly movements from side to side. See how black it is? And then for any little eyelashes on the outside, I'll use the brush like this. and just bring them out. And you can also kind of tight line the eyes as well underneath if you feel that you want it nice and kind of dark. It's just the fact that if you're not used to putting on eyelashes, I don't want you to be doing that on the morning of the wedding. So I want you to have the best mascara possible to give you amazing volumized lashes. If you find this is too much work for you, Charlotte Tilbury do another mascara. It's the Legendary Volume 2. It's absolutely amazing. It's really, really good as well. A little bit easier to use. There's a lovely big brush in it. But if you could at all, try this one because you'll love it. Okay? So that's just one coat on them. For underneath then, I'll just pop another little bit on my brush. So it's the same thing, vertical to start off and then come through, okay? Tiny little on the little bit on the bottom, just in case if you have any few tears that you can wipe away anything afterwards. Okay, so that's just applying it, and then I'm going to go straight in there with the brush. I love my mascara, so I always apply loads, okay? No, so there you go. Isn't it amazing? Really, really love this mascara. It's absolutely fabulous. You can build it, you can brush it through. I kind of like a little bit of fluffiness, so I leave it. I don't brush it through a lot, but even look underneath. Look at the job it's done to my underneath lashes. So love that product. Really, really nice. So that's one for you to try out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in with my concealer, and I'm just going to conceal underneath the eyes. I'm going to leave my eyes alone for now. We'll work on the brows. So just basically, again, in with your concealing brush, and what I will do is I'll clean up anything there, and what I will do here is I'll just lift back like that. So anything that has smudged underneath, after getting rid of it. So I always use a concealing brush just for this part, for most of my concealer really, just so you have more of a defined look. But as you can see there, we're tapering everything back like I was saying at the start, okay? We'll be putting on the foundation now, so don't worry that you see any lines there. I'll be working with those then later on. Okay, so for my brows, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift. Such an amazing product. So first of all, you have your brush on one side. On the other side, you have your color. And in the middle, this is the secret compartment for a little highlight for right underneath there. So again, 3 products in one. It's genius. So what I normally do is I'm going to apply this with a brush. So I'm going to use the liner and the brow brush as well from Sarah Carey's collection. I've given that a wipe because we use that on the eyes, and just literally just take the product from here and apply. Sometimes I find this a little bit thick to use, so I prefer a little bit more precise line, and just literally, you know, follow the brow shape along, just cover in and fill in anything that needs to be filled in. At this stage, you know, you've probably been looking after your brows and minding your brows and not plucking too much. Keep them nice and soft unless you are used of, you know, a good kind of dark brow. If you're used to that, go with that. But I would generally just keep them nice and soft. Just give them a little bit more shape. And you can be using your brush as well. So I apply a little bit of product, I brush them up, and I'm back and forth like that. Try not to do too much in one go, and just try not to make this too square. I think that's the problem that a lot of people have. They kind of square off that part of the eyebrow, and it's just, I suppose it kind of gives like the scouse brow effect, which you don't want on your wedding day. So again, just watch the way I am using my brush, you know, and the angle of it, and I'm barely gently touching the skin here, okay? Brows are so important. You could have done your brows before your eye makeup if you wish. This is just the way I work. This is what I'm used to. So that's just the way I do it, you know. So again, I'm going to use this brush and just brush through. I always find when you have the foundation done and your face is complete, if you need to go back at it again, you can do so then. So this color is actually ombre. This is the color of the brow lift that I have, and I'm just going to use the little bit of highlighter. So apply a tiny little bit and then just buff in with the finger, just so that you don't have too much and it's not too white. But how genius is this? Such an amazing product. Okay, so on to foundation now, and I'm going to use the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This is in my kit with well over a year, and I'm slowly using it on every single bride that I have. It's amazing. It is so light on the skin, massive coverage without feeling heavy. You literally feel like you've nothing on your skin, and so many of my brides have said that to me. And the best part about it, there are so many shades. I think there's over like 49 shades in this foundation alone. And if you don't know what shades to use, you can go online, go onto charlottetilbury.com, and there's a virtual, you can have a virtual consultation with a foundation expert. So it's free. It's for 15 minutes, and literally they will chat you through all the foundations, your tone and your colors, and what foundation will suit you. It's genius. So, you know, if you can't get to the shop and if you have to order online, it's ideal. So I'm using the foundation brush from Sarah's collection again, right? So this is the 5.5, and I'll apply most of it on my T-zone first and work across. So like I'm buffing this into the skin. You always know when I'm doing my foundation, I kind of buff it rather than like rub it in, and it sits better on the skin this way, okay? Tiniest little bit is all you need. This product really works well into the skin, and you don't need, you can always like build it up, but to be honest, I never really have to build it up. I find it is like absolutely amazing. And just the slightest bit of it will go a long way. If anybody has any redness on the cheek area or around any acne rosacea, you can use a little bit more of your concealer first and then pop this over. Like that's just one quick application, and look at the coverage in that. Okay, so I will be you know, doing my contour, my highlight, a little bit of bronze after. I'm just looking at the color. I know I have my ring light on, so it's looking a little bit paler, but I think it should be okay. When I look, yeah, that looks pretty good. So like I just had like one pump onto my hand and it has done the full face. Amazing. It's I use a lot of MAC, I use a lot of Urban Decay. And like I said, I did a masterclass actually with Charlotte. I think it was probably this time last year. And it's great to do masterclasses because you get to learn what they love and learn what they hate. And like I was totally converted when I saw her using the products. And then when I use them on myself, and when I know that my clients and my brides are going to be happy with them, and that they'll work on the day, that they'll photograph great, that they're not going to leave a massive shine on the skin, and that there's a color to suit everybody. This foundation is kind of for everybody really, unless you have very, very dry skin like eczema, psoriasis type skin. I wouldn't apply this on, but for everybody else, go with it. It's amazing. And this is my go-to for nights out when we get to go out again, for occasions and like that, for bridal. Okay, the most important thing next to do after your foundation is you need to set your makeup. I'm going to be using a powder, contour and highlight. I might just add a little bit of a liquid one towards the end of a highlight, but you do need to set your foundation now, and I would recommend the Airbrush Flawless powder that goes with your foundation. This is shade number 2. So this is a kind of a general, which would suit most skin types, especially if you're on the 456 number of your foundation. But again, if you go on Charlotte Tilbury, they'll recommend all that for you. So this is a powder, and this is the blush brush as well from Sarah Carey's. So basically, right in underneath the eye, that's your first place that you need to set. We have put on your concealer, we have put on a little bit of foundation. And again, I'm just keeping it like really, really light. Don't need a lot of powder because this foundation is so flawless that it kind of mattifies slightly on the face. But remember, then we have our lovely flawless filter too underneath. So, okay, so on to the fun part, the contour, the highlight, and the blush for you. So we're going in with this contour, this highlight, and then we'll mix the two blushes because there is a lovely, lovely tone to both of these. Okay, so I'm going to start with my contour. So contour is probably the hardest part of this, but I would feel that you would need it for the day of the wedding. And it's just to give a more 3D effect to the skin. It's not, you know, that you want a full face of contour, but it's just to kind of lift those cheekbones a little bit. If you have a larger forehead, just to contour a slight little bit there on the temple, the top of the forehead, and like the jawline as well is always a pretty good one to contour. So I'll take a slight little bit on my brush, again the same brush that I used for my powder, dust it off, and then just suck in the cheeks, right? So when you suck in the cheeks, you're going to feel the hollow that is right underneath your cheekbone, okay? That's where you want to put your contour. Bring it to about here. And when you bring it down, I taper it up a little bit. If you kind of make it too stark down there, it's going to be too severe. So like just bring it down here and then just taper it up, just very gentle. So I'm going to suck in the cheeks and I'm going to show you now how to do this. Look at that contour, that's beautiful. It's a lovely, lovely color. It's not too mucky. You can get a lot of contours that are really mucky and they just don't sit on the skin. So, and take it right up to the top of the ear, say that's the direction you would be going. And if you find you've applied too much, just gently buff the area. We're going to go a tiny little bit on the brush. What I'm doing here as well is I'm bringing a little bit on the brush and I'm tapping it off my hand so I don't have too much product. Slight little bit up here. Tiniest little bit. You don't need too much. And you know, when you apply it, you don't want to notice it straight away. So you want it to blend in with your foundation. If you notice a big dark mark on your forehead, that's wrong. So like gently, and having the smallest amount on the brush, that is all you'll need. Same with the jawline, putting a little bit on my brush, and then just here, slight little bit. Look, barely, barely noticeable. Now, you can go and you can apply a little bit more on the nose area if you wish. But like I said, if you're not used to it, I don't want you doing too much. You know, I don't want you to kind of be totally contoured that you look totally different. Okay, so blush is next. So I've mixed the two colors in the palette, and your blush should be on the apples of the cheek and then just up slightly. I draw everything back. So like the eyes, you know, we drew the eyeshadow back, we draw the contour back, the blush back as well. And that gives us a nice chiseled look face without being too severe and too defined. So what I would do is smile, and you can see just the apple there. So apply a tiny little bit. Again, very, very lightly. And then just bring a tiny little, I always bring it back up as well to the ear. I am using the slightest amount of pressure, okay? So it's a gorgeous peachy, pinky blush. So same with this side, give a smile. And like, you know, halfway down the eye, don't bring it in towards the nose too much. But when you smile, you get a good idea. There's a great pigment in this, so it's a buildable product as well. So tiny little bit goes a long way. Sit it on top of the contour. You don't want to go down to the contour. And most of the product is going to be here on the apple. And like I said, just draw it back then very, very lightly. Okay, so highlight next. And I'm using a very, very thin brush. And I'm just going to apply a little bit just on top of the blusher on the cheek area. So just the slightest little bit I'm using with powder. I'm going to show you a liquid product as well that I use that I love. So this is the highlight from the palette. It's absolutely beautiful, really, really soft effect. And you don't need much more than that for a natural looking makeup. Put it on your Cupid's bow. Just here, a slight little bit. And just the tip of the nose. And again, I'll just go over the slight little bit on the eyebrow that I had with the brow lift pencil as well, okay? So if you prefer more of, I suppose, a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more of a highlight to the skin, this product is what you should go for. This is the Beauty Light wand. It's gorgeous. It's so nice. This is the color Spotlight, and basically there's a little spongy head like that. As you can see, I've worn to a thread. I use it so much. And basically you can just apply like so here, and then blend it in with the finger. So like I said, this will give you a little bit more of just a bit more of a highlight without looking too like I said, too highlighted earlier, you know. So it's just a little bit more, a little bit extra, we'll say. And then just buff it in like that. Same with this side. So generally, when I do makeups, I always do the powdered one first, and I ask the client then if it's enough, and if they want more, we put this on, and more so, they always go with a little bit more highlight. But it's just so important, placement product. So you place it up above the blush on either side and right up here. We can put a tiny little bit of this here as well because it's fab on the Cupid's bow. And when we do our lips after, it'll be beautiful. So whatever is left on my fingers, I'm just going to use. Okay. So for the lips, I'm going to go with quite a natural lip. It's so hard to pick lip colors for brides. You're either the type of person who wears lipstick or not. If you don't wear lipstick, stick to something that's very similar to your lip tone. That's what I'm going to do today. And if you want to work away and use colors to suit your bouquet or to suit your style of dress or your theme, you know, go with that. This time of year, lovely burgundies are amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. Burgundies, plums, wines, love those colors. Classic red as well. It's always gorgeous, but again, it depends on your look and what you want to go for. So I'm going to use Pillow Talk lip liner, Pillow Talk lipstick, and then I think this is the Pillow Talk, yeah, it's Pillow Talk lip gloss as well over, so that will give it a little bit more of a color too. All right, and just before we start, remember when I put on my foundation, I was like, is it a bit pale? Do you see how it's after settling? So foundation oxidizes after probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and that's when the air hit it, it just goes a little bit darker. So like that, wear your foundation a little bit before the wedding day and just get used to it and know the right one to suit you, okay? So I'm just going to line the lips. Okay, so I'm applying Pillow Talk now in the lipstick. It's not very matte, but it's not shiny either, so it's great for staying power. It's not a lip stain, but look, it's like I said, it is great because it is slightly more matte. Now, if you don't want the gloss, that's absolutely perfect. Or what a lot of my brides do is they just have the lipstick for the day, and then as the evening goes on, they apply their gloss. It's totally up to yourself, whatever you prefer. But that's a really, really easy color to wear. Great for whiteness as well of the teeth. And when I have a bride who doesn't know what lip color to choose, I always just recommend this one for them. Just find this one is very, very easy to wear. So I'm going to go in with my lip gloss, which is fabulous too. This is a collagen booster, so it's great just to boost up the lips as much as you can. And a lovely applicator as well to apply. Okay, so once you have your hair and your jewelry and your dress on, what you do then is go to a full-length mirror and have a look at the makeup when you're wearing your gown, and that will give you a really good idea to see if you need any more blush, see if you want your eyes darker, if you want more color on the lips. I tend to put a tiny little bit of blush on all the time once I'm ready. I just like that extra little bit of color. I always feel I need a little bit more color, so I pop that on. And then if you want to do any highlighting down along the collarbone, you can just pick up the highlighter that we had in our kit and just like raise your collarbones and apply a tiny little bit there. It's always a lovely effect. And maybe get one of the girls to put a tiny little bit on your back if you want some. Don't overdo it, but just a slight little bit I think makes a difference. So like, as you can see, the makeup changes so much when you have your hair done and when you change. And basically, you know, if you feel you need another little bit of powder, pop on your powder just before you go. And other than that, then, like, this is a pretty standard look for any bride. You can use this for bridesmaids. They can change around colors, get a different palette maybe, but the same technique, and they can darken up the eyes a little bit more or less, whatever they prefer. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this has helped some little bit. Even if you pick 1 or 2 tips from it, have plenty of time in the morning. That's the one bit of advice I would give you. And you know, head up to the room with your glass of champagne, and if you feel that like you want the girls to help you, your bridesmaids, and if there's something you can't do on the morning, they're there as well for you. So, you know, don't freak out too much about it. And I hope everything will go okay for you. And if you have any questions regarding skincare or regarding any of the products that I used or any more products, please send me a message and I'll help as much as I can. And yeah, have a great wedding day, and thank you for watching.